Greetings, fellow investigators. Welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. We continue with episode 27 of Horror on the Orient Express, Chaosium's masterpiece, with yours truly as the GM, and with Jeff Wilkins providing the recap. So without further delay, if the players are ready, let's continue on our journey into the darkness. Jeff?
Thanks, Tom. We're still in the Dreamlands at this time, continuing to investigate the murder of Ghost the Cat. We've talked with many of the passengers on board the Dreamlands Express, and so far there have been no concrete leads. We are suspicious that perhaps there is some sort of creature on board the train that neither Henry nor the train, Mimi, knows about. We have a few other guests to speak with. We decide that maybe it's best to call all the guests except for the Ibians into the lounge. We reveal that Ghost has been killed. The guests react in different ways, with Zusha apparently the most upset by hearing the news. Karakov seems solemn. Madame Bonneval has a look like, I know exactly who did it. The Sarnathians seem annoyed. Marone Namir is a little blank, but is willing to cooperate. We start with Mackenzie first. We go back to his room and see that most of his furniture is pushed up into a mess, like he was trying to shove it into the closet. He calls it his clutter pile. We learn that the rooms tend to reflect the person's mind. We also look around Mackenzie's room. Eldritch discovers a cutlass under Mackenzie's bed with blood on it. The cats of Ulthar are with us and confirm that the blood is not Ghost's, but there's a smell about it that does match what the cats smelled earlier in Dr. Dawkins' trunk where Ghost was found. Mackenzie denies knowing anything about the sword. We're pretty sure this is Karakov's sword. We also discover one more important clue, that Mackenzie's window is also open and there are scratch marks on the windowsill as well. Eldritch sees that the scratch marks might also coincide with the description of how Ghost was killed. In other words, there were triangular-shaped puncture marks. Frank then goes and interviews Madame Bonneval. She has a neat room and she's clutching her valise as if it's the most important thing in her life. She then goes on to talk about her enemy who is trying to get what's in the valise. She proceeds to tell a long story. Her daughter was married to a man, she had an affair, and her husband discovered them. Her husband killed them both and burned their hearts in the town square. Madame Bonneval prayed for weeks and weeks for revenge. She was able to purchase a large ruby in the shape of a heart. The man desired it above anything else. He tried to steal it, but failed, and had her burned at the stake, at which point she was brought into the Dreamlands with the ruby. The man, she believes, has followed her into the Dreamlands after he killed himself, so she thinks that the evil man that killed Ghost. Frank was able to determine that there was no scratch marks in her room, and the window seemed closed. Eldritch and Dawkins go on to interview Zusha. They find red marks around the room, but the cats alert them that it's makeup. There are no scratches on her windowsill either. Dawkins has a moment with her and encourages her to pursue her dreams as a dancer. Next, Eldritch questions the Sarnathians, one named Theophed, and actually there's not much to be discovered. They basically seem indifferent with the whole thing. Next, we talk with Karakov. He goes on to show us the sword, but when he goes to take it from under the bed, it's not there. We tell him that we have it and where it was discovered. There are claw marks on the windowsill. We also learn that in the real world, Karakov is in his mid-80s and not in the best of health. Karakov has also taken a liking to us. Lastly, we speak with Moronomir. His room is like the rest of the train, but is a little off. Nothing, when Tom described it, he couldn't quite put his finger on it. It was just something a little bit different about it. There are claw marks on the windowsill. Moronomir is not traveling in the Dreamlands for the same reason that we are, but is instead a merchant selling wine. He then tells us about the Black Forest and that there are foul little rat things called zoos. He has done business with them in the past. He tells us they don't like bright light, nor do they travel outside of the Black Forest. And that's where we left it off.
Okay, excellent. So we'll assume that you are leaving Moronimer's room and you're in the hall outside. What do you guys want to do next?
Good question.
That is.
Yeah, we need to talk about that because we're literally nowhere. We've gotten nowhere.
Let's go back to our room, go over the evidence that we've discovered, and see if we can figure things out that way in the privacy of our own home, our own room. Yeah.
Okay. So you are walking down the corridor as you normally would. And I would say that you get maybe 15, 20 feet farther down the corridor. And I'd like you to do a listen roll. You can all do it.
No.
Yep, I got an 11.
I got it with a 37.
Okay. Let's see. Frank, you guys are walking, and you're probably half discussing with each other as you're going. Frank, you're first to hear it, and Eldridge, you're second. You hear a clicking, scratching sound coming from the roof outside, as if something is moving along the terrain.
And I'll quickly
rather quickly.
I'll quickly hold out my arms, like, hold it, stop, listen, and point up to the roof that I hear something.
And I look to Frank and I say, "Do you think that's the creature?"
It very well could be. It's the only thing I know that would be up on the roof.
Well, it seems to travel down the corridor away from you.
Henry?
After a couple of seconds, we miss you. He shows up behind you.
I think we found our suspect. He's running. Sounds like he's running up on the roof of the cars.
Oh,
I think we need to follow him.
We're moving as we're doing this.
Okay.
Say, can you command the train to try to grab it?
Well, I don't know exactly where it is, so I'll see what I can do. Well, as he's saying this, all of a sudden you hear screaming, and it's an odd scream. It sounds like a woman, but it also sounds like a man, and you're pretty sure it's Madame Bonneval in her room.
We're rushing to her room.
Okay, so you've run down the corridor and you've reached Madame Bonneval's room, and you hear her inside yelling something like, "No, you won't have it, no!"
We try to break down the door.
Okay, well, Henry just puts his hand on the door and it flies open. Okay, now,
That works.
what you see is Madame Bonneval is kind of pinned down. She's not on her bed. She's in front of her bed, but she's on the floor, and she's clutching her valise, and standing in front of her, having just come through the window, is a monstrous looking crustacean of some sort, like a spiny lobster crab thing, with large prodigious claws and definitely long triangular pointed spines on its hand. And it's trying to attack her, and it's trying to get the valise out of her hand. It has large, sort of almond-shaped, red glowing eyes, and it's making strange sounds. Madame Bonneval doesn't look so terrified as she looks absolutely pissed off. like, no, you're not going to get it. You know, you think you're going to frighten me. I've seen much worse than you. And the thing is fighting with her.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll pick up like a chair or something like that and try to smash it over to its back or something like that to get its attention.
Okay. Let's see. Go ahead and do, I guess, brawling.
Yes. I hit him.
Yes, you did. Of course, the chair just shatters into pieces when it hits the creature. And the creature attempts to swing an arm towards you and knock you back. But it's not very fast. It's not tremendously fast. So it's fairly easy to dodge. With its other claw, it grabs a hold of the valise and gets a good grip on it, rips it out of Madame Bonneval's hand. And other claws, it's got multiple claws, comes over and rips open the valise. It's a heart-shaped valise. And as it opens, there's nothing inside of it. And Madame Bonneval is like, "Ah, I fooled you, you imbecile." And for a few moments, the creature is just sort of stunned and doesn't know what to do. So what do you guys want?
I try to look for something heavier than a chair.
The other two have to do something first. So
I'm sorry.
I look to Henry and I point at it and I say, "What is that thing?"
He says, "Mon Dieu, monsieur, I have no idea."
Okay, then I look at the madam and I say, "What is it? You clearly know."
She's like, it's a servant of my enemy. I'm sure of it. That's what she yells. Jeff, what do you do?
I'm going to grab a sheet or the cover off the bed and kind of like hold it out and see if maybe I could throw it on the thing and try to tangle its arms up.
Okay. Go ahead once again, do a grapple.
Okay. That's not going to work.
Okay. What you find is there's so many spines that it immediately gets sort of hooked up on the spines, and because it sort of is thrashing about it, it just sort of throws the thing away. At this point, Henry does something that he hasn't done before, but it's kind of funny. He goes like this, and when he does, tentacles come in from the window. Tentacles suddenly, there's a carpet on the floor. Tentacles suddenly push up from underneath the carpet, and they start wrapping themselves around this creature, just as the creature is trying to stab at Madame Bonneval and hit her with its claws. But very quickly, Henry manages to get this thing that's struggling to get itself free. But there's no way now that it's captured by Henry's tentacles.
Mimi.
By Mimi, yes. All right. So it's what you guys like to do.
Henry, is there a possible way for you to give me a large knife, something really sharp?
What is your intention, monsieur?
My intention is to seek justice for Ghost of Uthar.
Well, monsieur, I'm sorry, you can't kill anything on the train. It's not permitted.
This thing doesn't belong on a train. This thing snuck past your defenses.
I agree. Perhaps we should just fling it from the train entirely.
But we don't know why it's really here. I mean,
Or how it got here.
We need to figure this out, and before we act irrationally by attacking it, we need to see if it can at least explain itself.
Henry says, well, if you insist, monsieur, let us restrain it. We can restrain it in the other compartment, internal compartment, the other cell, yeah.
Okay, I say we do that.
So you see the creature struggling, and something happens.
I imagine the cats are with us too, the ones that were helping us investigate.
Yes, yeah, and they're freaked out. What happens is, go ahead and do me a spot hit on all three of you.
Okay. What's my spot hit?
Come on.
I passed.
I passed.
I didn't.
Okay. The ones of you who passed, there's a moment when the tentacles just sort of pull back and yank the thing through the window. But as it's going, it's got kind of a large triangular head with spines and, like I say, big red glowing eyes, and little things like this. There's a funny look, and you get this feeling that the creature looks like it is intelligent, like there's something there. It almost looks like it's sad as it gets yanked out and transferred, and you sort of can hear it as it's being pulled along the train and deposited in the cell, which happens a lot faster than you could actually get to the cell.
Maybe it failed its mission.
Yeah, I tell the cats to get Ghost's parents and the rest of the cats meet us down at the cell that we found Ghost's murderer.
Do the cats, and I guess I asked the cats, do you recognize this creature?
The cats replied that they've never seen anything like it.
And I nod, and I look to the group.
They do say same smell, same smell.
Okay. I do look to the group, and I say, if the cats don't know, maybe someone else does. And I turn around, and I'm going to walk out, and I'm going to go find the Sarnathians.
Okay.
Well, while you're finding the Sarnathians, and while the cats are getting Ghost, I'm going to go and find, what is his name, Mercurio? Or yeah,
the Russian fellow.
Not the Russian fellow. The
one guy, Moranimir.
You're going to go Moroner. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And Frank, what are you doing?
What's Henry doing?
Waiting to find out what you guys are doing.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to start making my way to the cell.
Okay. Frank, Henry is coming with you.
Okay.
And he says to you, Monsieur, he says, I believe that we should at least restrain the creature until His Majesty King Kuranes joins us, at which point we can have him render judgment on this thing. I don't think we should give it to the cats, because the cats will just tear it apart and kill it without finding out what's going on. That's the cats.
As well as Dr. Dawkins, I think, would do the same thing.
Perhaps it deserves to be torn apart.
Right. I tend to agree with you, Henry. But we're going to have to make sure that Dr. Dawkins is okay with it too, because I know he wants vengeance. Justice.
All right.
Does Henry? Henry, are you able? Do you think? How do I word this? Do you think the king will provide a fit punishment or justice? In other words, I don't know what your legal system is like here. Is it just a bunch of paperwork and he's just going to be slapped on the wrist? Or
we have a king. He decides that it happens. We don't really have the bureaucracy. We don't have the bureaucracy this year. This is more of a monarchy than almost an imperial monarchy.
And does he seem like a fair and just king that would?
He is indeed a fair and a good man. So I think we can trust his judgment.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I would like to somehow see if we can maybe question him. Maybe if Dr. Dawkins still has the squeaker.
All right. So you're heading towards that. Let's see. Eldritch, where were you going?
To find the Sarnathians to maybe either get answers or take them to see this thing and get answers that way.
Okay. You get to the Sarnathian store. Okay. So what do you do?
Well, they were like, let's have an orgy last time I saw them, so they're probably in the middle of an orgy, so I'm going to knock.
After a few moments, the door is answered by one of the women. I forget all their names. I don't have them all written down here, but she's like, "Oh, it's the man, the human." And you hear whatever his name is, Theodore, whatever it was. He says, "Yes, Eldridge, what can we do for you?"
What are they all doing? Are they just lounging?
Yeah, just lounging, eating grapes, and.
Okay, I'm going to step inside, hands behind my back, back straight, and I'm going to promptly and bluntly say the murderer or a suspect of the murder has been found.
Oh, that's wonderful. You've done such a great job.
Yes.
You know, it reminds us that we have another thing that we would like to discuss with you concerning our dealings with the Ibians. If you'd be interested in hearing this out.
Eldritch closes his eyes and kind of takes in a very deep breath and with trepidation says, explain.
Well, part of what we are going to do when we go before the king is have a kind of, apparently the Ibians want reparations, and we would like it very much if you would represent our side, since you've obviously are a very intelligent person who has been able to solve this crime so easily. We trust that you would be able to negotiate with the Ibians for us, in our favor, of course, whatever terms they might lay. I would like to get this at least partly settled before we go to the king, if you wouldn't mind. Perhaps find out what they want, find out what they're asking. We'd rather not have to deal with them directly.
My feeling is that they'll want their land back.
Well, I would like you to find out exactly what they want, and then we'll discuss it.
Only if, and I kind of put a hand up and I say, only if you agree to be fair and considerate in the negotiations. Because
that's all that we're asking. And of course you'll be compensated very nicely for your insistence. We always pay our well, I was going to say we always pay our debts. Isn't that a thing from that TV show?
The Lannisters.
Yeah, the Lannisters.
Oh, all right. So I nod and I say I would be happy to be a neutral party in the operation of this. However, there is something that I need of you. You come across to me as a very old, a very intelligent people.
As well we should. Yes.
Which means you must know a great deal of the world that we are currently standing in.
Well, we've lived in it for 1,000 years, and I mean, I have personally lived in it for 1,000 years, but our culture is 1,000 years old.
Culture. But then again, I guess time flows differently here, or something.
To be honest, I don't know everything about this world. I'm not that kind of a scholar. But what is it that you want to know?
The murderer that was found is not a passenger on board this train. It's not an Indian. It's not one of you. It's not a human. It is a sort of crab-like creature that boarded the train, crawled onto the train, and then fit through the window. We currently have it. Now, I'm wanting to know if you've heard of anything like this, and maybe my description of the creature is a bit off. Maybe you could see it and tell me what it is.
Oh my. It sounds disgusting.
Does
it smell badly?
Did it smell badly, Tom?
No.
No. It smelled it's normal. It just didn't smell.
Well, I suppose I'm a bit curious. One of the other ones in the room was like, "Yo, you go. We're not even interested. Whatever." And he's like, "All right, I'll come with you. Show this thing to me."
Okay. All right. So I lead them down the hallway, and I guess I try and find the second isolated cell.
Okay, so you're heading down the hallway too, and it's just the one guy who's coming with you.
Yeah. Well, I only need one.
All right, Dr. Dawkins. You get to Moronimer's door. What do you do?
I'll knock.
Okay.
And
there's no answer.
I'll try again, and if there's no answer, then I'm going to head down to the cell.
Okay, there's still no answer.
Okay. All right, well, I'll head down to the cell.
Okay. So you are now all three, I don't know, somehow magically you all meet up at the same time. Thank you. And you're going to go down all together into the cell with Henry. So
can I rewind for just 1 second?
Okay.
I got caught up in the action. I wanted to also make sure that Madame Bonneval was okay. I didn't mean to leave her laying on the floor there.
She, as soon as the thing was captured, she got up, stood there defiantly, like, hey.
That's what I thought.
You think that was an attack?
Get your hands off me. Okay.
I give her, before I left, I would have given her like a nod of respect, like, well done.
Well, she also has just a shitty grin on her face because you thought you had me tricked. Her little diversion trick worked beautifully.
Refold.
Yeah, I have a certain level of respect for her now.
Okay, you get to the cell, and the creature is restrained up against the cell wall. And it's not really struggling anymore. And when you come in, it just sort of looks at you, and there's an odd look in its face, like, I don't know, you'd almost like to see it looks like it's sorry or something.
Yeah, it's going to be sorry.
All right.
So what do you guys do?
I look to Theophed, the Sonathian, and I ask, do you recognize this thing?
Well, he does sort of like this. He walks in and he looks at it and he goes, never seen anything like it in my life. And then he just turns around and leaves.
Great. Big help you were. All right. Henry is with us.
Yeah.
I suppose, and I turn to Henry and say that I suppose you should probably head outside and stop the cats from entering before we've figured this out.
I give you a strange look, like, what do you mean?
Just because we're currently in the dream world does not mean my ethics have changed, Dawkins. This thing is clearly sentient and therefore deserves a fair and just trial. It's innocent until proven guilty.
Okay.
That's a mic drop.
Like,
I stalk over to the corner and lean up against the wall, my arms folded. And I say, very well, have your fair trial.
Well, let us at least, monsieur, determine whether we have the guilty party, although it would seem 99% of the evidence would show that this creature is indeed the one that killed it.
And I'm not denying that. However, we should understand the motives of the creature before we assert some sort of claim.
Okay. Sure, let's hear the motives of this creature before I execute him.
Frank, I believe you have the squeaker.
No, I have the squeaker.
You have the squeaker?
I hand it over to you, Eldritch, since you're the one who wants to negotiate with this thing.
Okay. I approach what I'm going to call a crab monster, and I hold out the squeaker.
Okay.
And I'm
remember the squeaker's a translator.
Yeah. I'm wondering. Okay, so if I have it in my hand, because the squeaker telepathy and all that stuff. If I have it in my hand, is it reading my thoughts, or do I need to put it in the hand of the creature?
It needs to be touched by the creature.
Okay. So I'm going to hold it out, and I'm going to ask Henry if it can release one claw that doesn't look that intimidating.
Let's say like a shrimp or a crab. It's got multiple little legs as well as big pinchers, and it's not going to release the big ones.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'm assuming it would give me one of the little legs.
All right.
And if it releases the legs, I'm just going to kind of give it to the monster.
Okay. The creature, rather delicately, rather gently, sort of reaches forward a little arm, and touches the squeaker. And when it does, the squeaker goes, and just starts screeching loudly.
Okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna not like jolt it away, but I'm gonna slowly take the squeaker away, and I'm gonna look at it. Does the squeaker itself look like it is in pain?
No.
Okay. So I'm gonna look at the creature, and I'm going to say, if you understand me, we are not here to hurt you. I want to figure out what's going on. There's no need to scream. There's no need to panic. This is going to translate for you, but I need essentially a yes or a no. I guess, can it blink?
It doesn't look like it has any kind of eye things, but it gives you its head sort of goes.
Okay. I'm going to say, if you're not going to scream, because if you scream, I can't think, and you'd be screaming, and it'd be very loud, and I don't know if this thing can reach the range that you can. So we're going to do it again. This time, simple, short questions. We're going to figure it out. All right? And I take the squeaker, and I raise it up, and I put it back in the little claw hand thingy.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, as soon as it touches, if the squeaker doesn't do anything, I'm going to say, do you understand? Okay, so with it touching, I'm going to say, all right, all you got to do is think of your answer. I mean, I don't know your thinking process, but if you can think the answer, the squeaker will translate. All right. let's start with the basics. Do you have a name? And I'm going to hold, so with the squeaker in my hand, I'm going to try and let it touch it. And I'm going to say, what is your name?
Okay. Every time it touches the squeaker, all the squeaker does is screech.
God damn it. Monster! Stop it. All right. Okay. So it's yes or no questions. All right.
So first, the obvious. Did it kill the cat?
Well, I mean, that's an obvious one. Yes. Did you kill the cat?
Trying to lead into it.
Yeah. I mean.
Affirmative. It gives you an affirmative.
All right. So we know it killed the cat. Did
Guilty.
you? Well, once again, motive. Did you kill the cat for a malicious reason?
Gives you a negative.
All right. C. Did you kill the cat out of self-defense?
Gives you a negative.
Okay. So if it didn't kill it maliciously, but it didn't kill it in self-defense, it leads me to one final thing. Was killing in an accident? Okay, so it wasn't an accident. And I turn to the other two, and I'm going to say...
Did somebody send you to kill the cat?
When you say that, it suddenly starts jerking like this. And you can see that the red in its eyes, there's almost like little flames jumping around. And it tries to say yes, and as it does, it just immediately begins shaking and it collapses, apparently unconscious.
Well, I think I have my answer. I'm going to turn to the group, and I'm going to say, what are your answers?
Well, I had one more I wanted to ask you. Was it alone? Are there more of you?
My assumption is that there are more, because it's clear to me that the creature is not acting of its own will. Madame Bonavart says that it's got a master, it's a slave of a creature, of a stronger being, which means that this creature did not kill Ghost because it wanted to kill Ghost. Killed Ghost because it was forced to kill Ghost. Why it killed Ghost, I don't understand, but it was forced to.
I agree.
What are you guys doing? Describe your posture, your position. What are you guys doing at this point?
I'm leaning up against the wall with my arms crossed and listening to this. And I have a stern-looking face at the creature. I very much want to go over there and kick it in its head while it's down. But I'm reining in my emotions, thanks to Eldritch.
It's no different. This creature's actions are no different than if a gun were put to your head. And
than an assassin?
Once an assassin does the work and then gets paid. This is not an assassin. This is a slave. A creature whose mind has been broken. Once again, much like if you were standing there with a gun and a killer put a gun to your head and said, shoot your gun or I'll kill you.
I'm assuming then, Eldridge, that you are now talking to, you're talking to
Oh yeah, I'm talking to the group.
Dr. Dawkins. Frank, what are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, first of all, I'm fascinated by this thing. I mean, I've seen some weird things in the Dreamlands, but this is like my first horrible thing that I've seen, I guess. So I'm kind of like studying it. And yet at the same time, I'm also aware that Dr. Dawkins is ready to rip this thing apart. So I'm kind of positioning myself so that if he makes a leap, I can maybe hold them back a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if I want to or not.
So, well, let me ask you then, are you looking, are you closely examining the creature, or are you more, is your attention more focused on Dr. Dawkins?
I guess to be honest, I would be focusing more on it. And then like my intent was I'd be looking at it and then I'd just kind of like, is he okay? Okay. And then.
Okay. Let's assume the creature is about 7 feet tall, although its face is not the tallest part. It's hunched over with spines and stuff. So what parts of it are you looking at? I'm sorry for all these detailed questions, but it's leading.
That's fine.
I'm actually, I guess I'd be interested in the anatomy. Like,
what part?
Does it have a clear definition of a head? Like,
yeah, I'd say its head is almost football shaped, about that big, with large eyes, and then, like I say, things like this, and spikes here and there, and then it's got big, gigantic shoulders with spikes, and it's got large, prodigious claws with long spines that are obviously the murder weapon.
Does it have any noticeable, like,
imagine it's a lobster, more or less.
So when I think of a lobster, I think of the hard crustacean shell.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this thing, could I see some way, like if it were to break free and I had to kill it, could I see some sort of a weakness, like, oh, if I stab it in the eye or if I get under its shell or something like that?
Well, maybe it has kind of a soft underbelly.
Okay.
But mostly it's pretty well armored.
Okay.
And it's kind of an orangish red, same as like you'd see a lobster would be. Lots of mottled colors in there. So what part of it are you looking at? Just at the moment?
Yeah, I'll start at the head and just work my way down and inspect its body.
All right, so I would like Jeff and Wayne both to do spot hidden rolls. Well, Wayne, I need you to get half or better.
I pass.
Yeah, I pass as well. Half.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, Jeff, you're a lot closer to it than Wayne is.
Who's this Jeff and Wayne?
I'm sorry. Frank, you're a lot closer to it than Dr. Dawkins is. As you're looking, like I say, it doesn't have eyelids. But when it fell into consciousness, sort of the light out of its eyes. I guess that's how you'd indicate that it was asleep or unconscious. And now that you're looking at it, the red in the eyes is sort of flaking away, and sort of, almost as if it was a film over the eyes, and it's flaking away, and underneath it's yellow. And Dr. Dawkins, you're noticing this too, but you don't see it quite as well as Frank does.
So I'll point that out and suggest that maybe this thing is under some sort of mind control or spell or some sort. And that maybe it's fading.
Do you think that it was under mind control during our conversation, or that it is under control now?
I think it was under while we were talking to it, and that's why it was screaming.
Let me ask you a question, or ask the GM a question. Does the color of the eyes remind me of another person's eyes?
Do an idea roll.
It's a good question.
And I make it.
Yeah, kind of.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting that when I went to knock on manometer's door, he wasn't there.
Oh. I didn't put that together.
And I remember now, we were dealing with a shapeshifter. Remember that?
Yeah.
I remember you were talking about it, but I don't remember how that related.
Yeah, that was one of our ideas, but that never came to anything.
But now it has, it seems.
Yeah. And he had yellow eyes too.
All right. So
maybe he's getting ready to. It is alive, right? It's just unconscious.
Yeah. In fact, as you're standing there, it begins to twitch again, as if it's coming back to consciousness.
We should probably take a step backwards.
I'm already at the wall, but
well,
yeah.
It's still being restrained.
Okay.
The tentacles.
All right, that's good. Didn't want it to come up swinging.
Yeah, we're investigating it like.
Well, once again, you were pretty much not in danger because it couldn't really lunge forward as long as it's completely being held. So,
I remember one time I tried to feed a wolf and it bit me.
Ooh. We're feeding it a ham sandwich.
That's what you get for trying to be nice to something.
A hamburger.
And did you ever turn into a Google?
I don't think I did.
I don't remember the end of that. Anyway, all right. Now the creature starts to come to, and it's sort of lifting itself back up into position, and its eyes are now yellow. What do you guys do?
I guess I say.
Let's continue to question it.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
I guess I said Manometer, the guy's name. I can't pronounce it for the life of me.
Yeah, same here.
Manometer. Okay.
Manometer.
When you do that, as it's coming back into consciousness and it looks at you, it goes like this.
Is this your normal form?
And it goes.
All right. Oh.
Affirmative.
Okay. And we could be dealing with time here. Are you under control of something?
When you say that, it starts to shake again, and you start to see the red crawl back into its eyes.
All right. Well, that answers that question.
And it doesn't pass out this time, but you can tell that it's in like pain. Something is happening to it, but it's struggling to try to get out the information.
All right. Well, okay. My feeling is that because
okay,
it's kind of
as you're standing in there, one of you notices that its spines are starting to sort of come back down this way, like they're shrinking.
oh, it's reverting.
And indeed, within the space of maybe 20 or 30 seconds, it completely reverts, and it looks like Moronimer again. Still restrained.
All right. It is clear to me, sort of, kind of, maybe, that whoever is controlling Manometer, can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry, is also watching now. Am I correct?
It sounds right.
I look at...
Or watching through his eyes or something like that.
Yeah. So, and I ask, like, is whoever is controlling you now watching us, Is he watching right now?
He looks like he's trying to formulate something in his head, and he says, "Chartreuse is an awful wine." And he looks at you kind of like, "Do you understand?"
Well, there's a reason why I don't drink it.
I feel like that was said before.
No.
No, it wasn't. But so there's something with this wine.
Oh my God!
No. The wine is fine. And he looks at you like he doesn't know how to say it. And so finally he just looks at you with resolve. And he says, "I was mesmerized," and he screams in agony and drops to the floor. And his eyes turned flame red when he did it.
Okay, so he's mesmerized.
He's passed out. He's passed out.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I suspect that on his travels to look for his people, something must have taken a hold of him. Something that might have wiped out his entire people.
He's not completely unconscious, but he's lying there shaking in pain. And he says, "Yes, her enemy." And he screeches again in pain as he's shaking there. He's trying to keep from passing out, but he's in incredible pain.
Good thing you stayed my hand, Eldridge.
Okay. I'm trying to connect pieces in my head. I'm trying to piece it together. Okay, this is out of character. I'm trying to, or I guess in character. I don't know. Chain of events. We brought the blind man on the train. After the blind man is blind to gouge out his own eyes. After that, Ghost is dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I need to go charge my computer. I need to grab the charger and plug it in. I only have 3% left, but and I may be connected. I may be grasping at straws. What if the blind man is the main, the puppet master in all of this?
He's starting to come back out of the pain, and he's like, "No."
God damn it!
To the GM, Chartreuse was the name of the wine that Geronimo brought on board that Wayne has been drinking.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and he said, what was the name of the wine that he said was horrible?
Blood wine.
The blood wine, the ones that he gives to the.
So they're not the same.
He says, not the wine. He says,
Color?
"I can't," and he starts to go red again. He says, "I can't use words that," and he starts shaking and his eyes are red.
Okay. So it's obvious that the master controls him. I'm just going to call him the master for the sake of it. He can't answer things that the master won't allow him to. So what if we just okay? Moronimer, can we? I want to see if we can talk to the master. Can we speak to the master?
No.
Why not? If he can control you and he can see through you and he knows what we're doing right now, then why can't he speak to us?
You know, now you start to notice that every time you say he, or you say something like the master, he flinches because he's thinking about it. And when he thinks about it, it's causing him agony.
Okay.
He did say she, so maybe it is Madame Bonneval's evil nemesis.
Her. Or if it's a she, maybe it's her. I mean,
No,
it seems...
He said her enemy.
Yeah.
Oh, her enemy. Got
Yeah.
it. I love you, Tom. Thank you for reminding me.
Which just, I don't know if I had a chance to explain that to everybody, but I would have filled everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How he's got to be incredibly powerful if he's not on the train. Is that right?
He's struggling to find a way to answer. He says, on Saru, we manufacture the bottles, and into the bottles we put the wine, and we sell them to you. But when you drink the wine, the bottle manufacturer is not there.
I see.
Maybe blood wine is literal. Is that what you're saying?
No. I think what he's saying here is
I'm the bottle.
the master placed something in him. He's the bottle, but the master is not here.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of keeps his mouth tightly shut, and he goes,
Oh, metaphors and.
Now, would this have happened? Well,
when was the bottle manufactured?
Yeah, no. I would ask, when you went back to where you get the bottles filled, was it filled at the same place that you usually get it filled, or did you stop at a place while you were going towards that place and it got filled there? If that makes any sense.
it was not filled on Saru.
Well, were you on your way to Saru?
Where was it?
When it was filled?
And he says, let's see. He came on in Delathleen. He says, Delathleen is a lovely town. It's not.
Somebody help me
now
out.
it's I back to y'all.
Somebody help me out. Who was the bad guy we were fighting on the train?
You talking about the Duke?
About who?
Yeah.
You talking
Which
about
bad
the Duke?
guy?
Yeah, both of them actually. There were two, right?
Are you talking about the Duke? The Duke that found? Are you talking about in the real world?
Both. Was the Duke the one in the 1890s?
No, I don't think so. That was in the Duke. It was no. Wait, hold on. Was it the Duke? I thought he was a Baron.
Or Duke or Baron? The Baron, the one that found us on the train and disappeared with the rope.
Well, that's the Duke.
That was the Duke.
That's the Duke.
That was our time.
Duke Jean Florestas des Essants.
So I will say that name to the creature.
He just shakes his hand.
Okay. And
I was thinking the same thing, Frank. Maybe
who was the other guy then? in the real life. The Fez guy.
Oh,
The Fez, that was in the book.
yeah, but he's saying like because that guy died, and sometimes when you die, you go to the Dreamlands. What was his name? I can't remember it.
But I don't. That wouldn't make any sense because the madam says something about this man being her enemy.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that it's not our enemy. And I'm trying to just mentioning the names to see if it triggers anything with the creature.
Well, okay. Can I? All right, because it's like it's a puzzle. Okay, and I like puzzles, like solving them. The manufacture. Okay, now hold on. The vineyard where the wine is made. Who is the creator of the wine? Can you give me a name?
I don't know.
But it's a word puzzle.
Right. He says. Just a second.
Yeah, it's a word puzzle. We just got to figure it all out.
Salim Makriyat, I think, was one of the ones I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Leader of the Brotherhood of the Skin. He was Smythe's enemy.
Right.
Oh, God. If we don't solve this puzzle tonight, I'm going to spend all week thinking about it. So let's try and solve it tonight, because I got things to do this weekend. This is when I'm best in my element, because I love puzzles. Just trying to think of a line of questioning.
What if it's just speech? Like, what if we can, like, if he taps his claw or something like that? That's easier to communicate.
He's
back in
in his
normal
human.
form.
He's in his form now. His regular form.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying, like, Jeff, is like if we give him a piece of paper and a pencil, can he write it down?
Yeah, some other way of...
I don't know.
I don't think so. The man was trying to nod his head, or the creature was trying to nod his head in affirmative, and
He
felt
says,
that pain as well.
he says, Eldridge, you like word games.
I do.
And he says, 12 horses eat 12 horses eat doors and run kissing over nice ears.
Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna write it down. All right, give it to me one more time.
12 horses eat
Doors.
and run kissing over nice ears.
All right.
Really obvious.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yep.
Am I the only one who has to answer, or can any other person answer?
You guys all heard it.
Okay, so Frank, if you already got it.
When he realizes you're about to say something, he plugs his ears.
Or he tries to. He's still.
Well, wait. Give me a second. Let me see if I can.
Oh, yeah, he can. So, but you suddenly think he's looking at you like, "Don't fucking say it out loud."
Okay.
Well, come over to the corner.
Okay.
And
We'll step outside real quick.
yeah.
Yes, I'll say it quietly. He said the dark one.
That's the answer to
the dark one.
Yeah.
How the hell did you get that from that little riddle of his?
Oh, all right. Yeah, no, I got it. God damn it.
What did you think that it was?
Well, I didn't. When I was thinking it was like a riddle, and then I look at it, and I look at it on my screen, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh, it's one of those.
Also, what kind of answer is that?
Yeah, it's not exactly. Oh, okay.
It's not exactly what I asked.
Puzzle solved.
Yeah,
He's
puzzle
word
solved.
games. He just gave you the simplest thing he could think of.
All right. Okay. How? Okay. Go back in the room. How? Okay. Not really the kind of puzzle I was looking for. I was looking for more of a name of the wine creator, like an actual name.
Well, I think maybe we should get Madame Bonneval in here, because I think that's what she referred to him as.
But if we get them in the same room, who knows how powerful this Watcher is? He could just take control of Manometer again and use actual power.
Well, he's still under control right now, isn't he? He's just in a different form. But yeah, I see your point.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe we'll summon more of these tentacles to hold him in place. I would really like to have a knife, though, just in case.
Though, Frank, what if getting her in the room could provoke the master into giving us some answers?
Are you guys still in the room?
Yeah.
I don't think we're saying that.
Are you discussing this in front of him?
Yeah, I think we did say we were going back in.
But I imagine that we were like, probably shouldn't talk about this.
I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, we can be in the room. That's fine.
Okay, well, Moronimer says, you know, my longtime companion was a cat. I love cats.
He did say that. There was a picture of the cat on the wall. It was a strange looking cat, though. So what? He's just trying. I don't know what he means by that.
Well,
He's trying to sympathize with me, and I'm not feeling any sympathy.
he says,
Unless he's trying to say that he really didn't do it, that he was actually forced. Like he would never do it under his normal. But
Yeah, his best friend was a cat.
during war, sometimes you're in your castle and the enemy, and he flinches when he says that. He says, attacks the castle, and you try to keep him out. And when he finally gets in, he punishes the people in the castle. Sometimes he kills the women and children first to make the men despair before he kills the men. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Why would you tell us about the rat creatures that were in the dark forest?
You asked about the moon line.
Does that have no relevance to this?
No, none.
All right.
Is the dark one a...
And you say that, and he just suddenly grabs his head.
Well, you can't.
God damn it, Frank.
Well, he can't.
Yep, I knew he was going to do that. And I'll finish my sentence. Is the Dark One a physical entity at this point?
And he's like dead. That's about all he can get out before he's really in agony.
I didn't hear what you said.
He said dead.
Dead.
All right, Frank, no more mentioning this Dark One.
Oh, you just said it again.
Ah!
I think Dawkins leans forward and goes, Dark One, Dark One, Dark One, Dark One, Dark One, Dark One. Darkity, dark, dark, dark one.
I think that our best bet is bringing the Madam in here. I think that we could maybe provoke the Master. If nothing else, Moronimer can explain himself to her and maybe get on her good side or whatever.
All right, what are you going to do?
Maybe we can keep her just outside the room at first and then bring her in, or
yeah.
I don't know.
Think of it like this, Dawkins. It's like a controlled experiment.
Yep. Are we going to leave this guy in the dark? Oh, and one more question.
Cruel.
Well, tell me what you're going to do.
We're going to get the Madam.
All right.
And I imagine Henry has been listening to all this, or did he step out?
Henry's not there.
Oh, I thought it was.
All right, let's get the Madam.
Okay. Well, when you get to the Madam's room and you knock, she's like, "Who is it? What do you want?"
It's Frank.
She's like, "Oh." You hear her sort of creak across the floor, and you see her. She opens up the door, and she's like, "Well, did you kill that creature?"
We did not yet, although it's not out of the realm of possibility. But
Well, now you believe me, don't you? That all
Yes.
he wants is the heart of the jewel that I have.
yes,
And
absolutely.
he'll never get it.
We believe that. What did you call him again?
What?
The guy that's chasing you?
Oh, the dark one, the sorcerer.
We believe that he's actually taking control of this other being.
That's what I said.
So would you kill the being, this other being? In other words, it's not going to get rid of the problem. It's not going to kill the dark
Oh,
one.
the creature is inconsequential. It's neither here nor there. My enemy is the sorcerer, not that creature. But what do I care if you kill a creature? It's just an animal.
Are you?
Are you not using his name intentionally?
Who?
The dark one, the sorcerer.
I don't know what his name is.
You actually don't know it.
How do you
He's
not know his name? Your daughter was married to him.
I brought that up before.
right, and she says, "That's right. I don't remember.
Wow.
It's been 500 years.
You'd think that you would remember the guy who's chasing you.
I remember that I hate him."
Wow.
And you believe he's here in the Dreamlands.
Yes, of course he is.
Have you seen him?
I've seen the evidence of him. I've seen him coming after me. I've seen him send his stupid minions to try to get me, but always I have eluded him. Always I have been one step ahead of him. And this time, I'm going to end it once and for all.
How so?
I'm going to throw it into the Gulf of Notimus.
Oh, right. You did mention that. I don't know. I spoke too quick there. I don't know if you guys are with me or not. I'll grab her. I'll say, would you come down and help us interrogate this guy?
Why?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
He says, why? Why should I do that? What do you hope to find out?
We don't want to put an innocent man to death or punishment.
What do you mean, man?
The Moronimer, the Moronimer. Have you met him? The wine merchant.
What does Moronimer have to do with this?
He's the creature that attacked you. He has two forms.
What?
Yeah, that's what he's currently in his human form. I say human, but you know what I'm talking about.
Really, in some parent, we have two forms.
And we actually saw him shapeshift into the other form. So
she's like, all right, I'll come with you, but I don't see what the point is.
Information at this point.
Provocation. Provoke the master or the dark one, or whatever we're going to call him, into speaking. If you can see through Moronimer's eyes, maybe your taunts will get a reaction.
She's like, he's not a god. He's just a man. She says, he can't. What do you mean, see through his eyes? Moronimer is under a spell.
Have you dealt with his spells before?
What spells? He's a sorcerer. Of course he has spells.
Yes, but it's...
Are there ways to break the spells?
I don't know. I'm not a witch.
I don't know.
Well, some people
might argue
that. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
She's like, anyways, let's get this over with.
Yes, I'll bring you down.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. So she follows you. She's like, and when you get to the trap door, she looks at you like, I'm not going down there. What the hell? She's like, that's for, it's for criminals. So she's like, all right, I'll follow you. But she doesn't look like she's going to enjoy it.
Sure, she's about to taunt in front of her enemy, so.
So you get down there, and she just sort of, just as you're about to get there, she sort of just shoves past you forward and steps into the room, and she says, so it's you, Moronimer. You were the one he sent. And Moronimer, he just sort of acquiesces, yes. And she says, my guess then is that he found you somewhere and mesmerized you. And he's like, yes. And you're completely out of his control unless he wants to take you over or you try to mention anything about him. And he's like, yes. And she's like, she turns to you and she's like, there, now you know. It's exactly what I said.
Okay.
Yeah, we figured that out.
Yeah, that's what I think we know.
Is there a way to invoke him? To bring him forth so that we can speak to him?
Bring who forth? You're trying to what? Conjure a spirit? He's not a spirit. He lives here in the dreamlands. He's as physical as I am.
But how... And I must confess that I don't understand spells.
I understand. You come from a time when you no longer believe in magic. But I'm from 1423 or whatever. Or 12 something. She says, We know all about magic. You've just forgotten. And she's like, is there anything else that you need?
Who could know about spells?
The sorcerer knows about spells. That's why he's
How about on the train?
sorcerer.
How about on the train? Who can answer us?
She's like, I can answer you that there are spells because there are witches and wizards in the world.
Okay. Madam.
Where is he in the Dreamlands?
I don't know. He's out there somewhere. He certainly isn't on the train. He couldn't get on this train if he wanted to.
Do you know anyone?
His agents.
Do you know anyone who knows about... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask her, well, what reason would he have to kill Ghost of Uthar?
That's a good question.
She says, how would I know?
You're the one who knows about this sorcerer the most. I was wondering if you might have some sort of insight.
He's an evil, dirty, monstrous man who is evil. What else would he do? He murdered my children. He murdered me because he wanted a rock. He probably murdered the cat just to make Moronimer continue to obey. And Moronimer's like, yes.
But Moronimer, why did you put the cat in Dr. Dawkins' trunk?
He says, I didn't. And looks at you kind of like, are you dense or something?
No, I'm just...
He's like...
That means that the Dark One... It means that the Dark One has been...
Say that again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The Dark One.
Madame Bonneval says that Dark One can control him, or it's force a mission on him that he can't disobey. And if he tries to disobey, there are consequences.
I know that, but why did he, not Moronimer, put the cat in Dr. Dawkins' trunk? It could have been laid there in the middle of the ground. It could have been put in any of our trunks, but he picked Dr. Dawkins' trunk because Dr. Dawkins and Ghost were friends. If he can't see through Moronimer's eyes, how did he know that?
Moronimer says, have you noticed that if you take a bottle of wine and throw it out the window, it comes back?
So you're implying that the train?
What he's implying is that after doing the deed, he tried to throw Ghost out of the window, and the tentacles brought it back. But why did it place it in my trunk?
That's what I'm saying. The train put it back in the train.
No. He says no.
Are you suggesting that Ghost could be resurrected?
No. Madame Bonneval says, in her opinion, what she says is he had to get rid of the evidence based on not allowing anyone to know that he was up to this. And he couldn't just throw the body out the window. It would have come back. So he had to hide it somewhere.
So it was just chance
that you placed it in my box.
And he says yes.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
Okay.
That messed up his chance of getting this rock. Had he not done that, he would have probably had her rock by now.
She says he's probably waiting somewhere for Moronimer to hand off the rock once he's got it. And Moronimer says, yes.
Can you tell us where that is?
And he says, he starts to get red tinges in his eyes as he's trying to say it. He says, the Eidolon of Lathi is a dangerous ruler. And Madame Bonneval immediately looks at you and she says, Thalarian.
Is that the next stop for this train?
No, but it's up ahead. And she says, all right. She says, I'm very fatigued with all of this.
Thank
Can I
you.
go?
Yes, thank you, madam.
Right. So she leaves. And you can look at, when you look at Moronimer, he looks physically, mentally exhausted. He's trying very hard even to stay conscious because he's been in agony and pretty much tortured. Not by you directly, but indirectly by whatever it is that has a hold of him. Excuse me.
Sanity loss.
That actually scared me, Tom. Oh my god.
It kind of scared me a lot. I told you to sing it inside.
Okay.
Now, I would like you to, at this point, go ahead and do 1d6, all of you.
Lucky me.
I got a 5.
I got a 1.
I got a 1.
You can add that to your sanity.
Ah.
Because you've solved the mystery.
Oh,
Right.
add it. That's true.
Yep.
Now, something happens. You guys have decided. I'm just going to say, you guys have kind of decided to let Moronimer rest because he's locked up. He can't get away. He is restrained, and he looks like any more, and he would just perish from all the agony. Did you guys want to discuss anything?
Yeah. Where can we get some weapons around here?
Well, you can get weapons in the Dreamlands, but they're going to be swords and knives and stuff.
That's perfect. I want to be up and close and personal with this sorcerer.
What's your Dr. Dawkins? What's your feeling on Moronimer? Are you still?
He's just a tool.
Okay.
That was used in this assassination.
What do we do with him?
We keep him here.
Yeah, we
Until
probably should.
Huh? No,
I
we
was
should.
to say we probably should keep him, because she's still under the spell, obviously. So, I mean, if nothing else, we should let the king still decide, because there still might be some sort of justice involved somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's mainly what I was wondering is, do we turn him over to the king or do we keep him?
Yeah, because again, with the king, I mean, he said he was going there to was it Lothar? So he might have been sent to assassinate the king as well. He knows what this sorcerer is thinking.
Where's the king at again? Is he in Thalarian?
No. The king is in Sonanil.
Sonanil.
So that's another 1, 2, 3 stops after.
Right.
So we're going to have to deal with the sorcerer before we get to the king.
Right.
Okay.
All right. So it's about 7 p.m., at least according to Greenland time, and the train begins to slow as you pull into a small port city with a large wall around it that's bright blue. You're not sure if the rock itself is blue or if it was painted blue, but it's quite striking. There are ships in the docks, and let's see. It says you can see that there are old buildings and there are limestone ruins, and that there are lots of thatched houses and stuff like that. Just as you're arriving, the sky is still a little golden and red as the sun's going down. And you can see Henry busying himself with loading and unloading more cargo, as he does at every stop. The strange colored lilies that he had, those get offloaded, and what looks like boxes of incense are loaded on. There's delicate pottery and strange little figures of people that are kind of grayish black. They look like they're carved out of lava. Obviously not hot lava, but Henry announces to you also that at 8 o'clock in an hour, there is going to be another banquet, which is going to have chestnut soup and roast magna bird and all sorts of delicious delicacies. People on board the train are talking about your success in solving the murder. The cats are still agitated, and it's been made known to you that they would really like to throw Moronimer off the walls of Thalarian when they get there, because you've since learned that the walls of Thalarian are so high that they disappear into the clouds. So throwing somebody off of those walls is not a very good thing. So let's assume that you guys are once again on the observation deck watching all of this going on. I would like the three of you to do spot hidden rolls, and whoever gets the best.
No.
30 for me. So that's
Okay.
something
I
now.
got it. 17.
Oh, 17. All right, Frank. Ever the photographer, you're looking at the landscape and you're looking over, and there's something human-sized, maybe a little bigger than human-sized, but very thin, and it's running along the edge of the dock, and it's heading for the place where Henry is standing at the bottom of the stairs, and it's sort of running, and it's sort of loping, kind of on its back legs, but also on one of its front legs. It looks kind of grayish and dirty, whatever it is, but it doesn't look like an insane madman like you've seen before. In this case, it starts running up to Henry, and you see Henry sort of take it back as it comes up to him. And Henry kind of gives it a, like a no. I would like you once again to do well. I hope I get this right, Frank. As you're looking, this thing that you're seing looks kind of like a cross between a man and a dog. And it looks just a little familiar. It looks like it has on a tattered French uniform. And as it's standing there, and Henry's sort of saying, no, or waving it off, because you can't hear what he's saying. You're up here.
Okay.
You see it suddenly reach into its pocket and pull out what looks like a ticket, like you guys have, except that it's kind of tattered and torn. And you just see Henry standing there, like, talking with it. What do you guys want to do?
Well, first of all,
Frank is the one who notices it. So, and I would imagine Eldritch.
Well, he notices.
I don't think I saw it.
You guys see it, but Frank notices that it looks really familiar.
So I'll mention it to everybody that I think this is our encounter back in the catacombs.
Well then, and I push away from the table.
Yeah. Let's give Henry a hand.
Okay.
It has to recognize us. I mean, we're like the first people that ever see it,
Right.
or for a long time at least.
Then again, it wanted nothing to do with us either. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is a different atmosphere, so maybe.
Okay. So, what, you guys are going to head down the ramp?
Yeah.
All right. You go down the ramp, and as you're getting there, you hear Henry saying, no, monsieur, we cannot accommodate such as you. And the thing is saying, my French has just gone out the window, but it's speaking in French, and it's obviously saying, but I have a ticket, please. So what do you guys do as you're getting there?
Where are we again? I'm sorry.
You're in Afarat.
Afarat.
Okay. Henry?
Monsieur, I'm sorry. This one, I am not so sure that we should let this one on board.
Why not?
Well, monsieur, he is no longer quite human. We refer to these things as ghouls.
Mm.
And the creature says, Guillaume. And Henry turns and he says, apparently his name is Guillaume.
Eldritch, didn't you give this one your coat at one point when we were in the catacombs?
Yeah, it has to remember us.
Henry's like, oh, you've seen this thing before. And the creature's eyes suddenly light up when it looks at you. And he says, oui. As he points at you with his long, dirty claws.
We'd like him to come aboard. He's friendly enough, if not dismissive.
Oh, monsieur, you do know how people become ghouls, don't you?
No, I'm not familiar with ghouls.
And he sort of turns a little away from the thing and he leans towards you and he says, humans become ghouls when they eat the flesh of humans.
Oh, well, never mind.
And he's like, I don't know if we can trust it. And it says, please. Gosh, I should know that in French.
Merci.
Merci, merci. And it says a few more things in French. And do any of you know French? I forget.
Nope. Riley was our French speaker. I know Russian.
Oh yeah, I do actually. I know
Oh yeah,
12%.
you just said it a little bit.
What do you know, Jeff?
12%.
Oh, well, go ahead and do a roll.
And I'm trying to teach myself French. Nope, 29.
Okay. Well, it sort of gutturally speaks to Henry. And Henry's responses are, oh, monsieur, it's like, I don't know how I can trust you. And he says to you all, he says, it says that it is repentant. It is repentant and no longer wishes to eat the flesh of human. And he says, but how do we trust this thing?
Well, I will say that we were in the catacombs in Paris, and we were far away from anybody else. He could have simply attacked us and eaten us then, and he didn't. He just wanted to be left alone. And then I also say we do have accommodations, or maybe we should have accommodations where we place the Madman as well as Menonwer and the Ibians.
We do have one more cell, yes.
If he doesn't mind staying there for the remainder of his trip.
Go ahead and do a persuade roll.
Oh boy. I'm a scientist, not a persuader.
I'll ask it too. Why do you want to?
Oh, nope. Nope.
Well, Henry's a little like, it was bad enough bringing on
The Madman.
the Madman. What were you going to say, Frank?
I'd like to ask, is it Guillaume? I'd like to ask Guillaume why he wants to get on board.
He says, through Henry, he says, I wish to throw myself into the Gulf of Nodens.
Henry. And now I'm going to try to persuade.
All right.
Because I'm a talker. Henry. You told us that the Dreamland Express was made for all kinds of people, and it was made so that people could repent and become better. He clearly wants to become better. He has a ticket. I think that you know that you should let him on, and it would be a disgrace of what the Express stands for if you didn't.
You make a very good argument, monsieur. All right, but he must stay in the other cell, the unoccupied cell. And the creature's like, oh, thank you, in French. Thank you.
I think that's merci.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Oui.
So it's going to, and Henry says, but he says, I have to take on this responsibility. Otherwise, I would say, it's your responsibility to let this thing on. He's like, I don't know if this is, I've taken many risks in this trip, but all right. So he says to you, I still have other business here. Would you show him where to go?
Sure.
So, okay.
Where can we get weapons? Does this place sell weapons?
He says, we'll be here for 2 hours. Yes. However, you won't be able to use them, or you won't be able to hurt anyone with the train. But
I'm not planning on hurting anyone on this train.
All right.
And what sort of currency do they use? to trade?
That's a good question. Probably precious jewels and.
How about that wine of his?
The Chartreuse de Saoub, it's priceless.
Okay.
However, Henry says if you must insist on having weapons, and he produces some currency,
Okay.
like gold coins.
Okay.
All right. So we don't really have to do anything in Afarat. Why don't we say that you go into the nearest place you can find them and you purchase some weapons? What would you guys like to purchase?
So they sell. You sell that. They sell swords and knives and things like that, right?
Yeah, swords are fairly expensive. Knives are less expensive.
Do I have enough jewels for a sword?
If you only get one and nobody else gets anything. But they got some big knives, you know.
Okay.
Dagger size.
Let's grab a few daggers.
Okay.
For what it's worth, I'm okay if you just want to get the sword.
How about
Yeah,
you?
I don't know. I think do I have jewels? I don't remember if I have them or not. I don't have it on my sheet, so I probably don't.
No, but you probably will once you get paid for helping Sarnathians.
Yeah, but I can't. I don't think I can put it on my tab. If you want to get the sword, it's fine. I mean, I'm pretty good with my fists, so.
Okay, I'll get a sword then.
Okay. So you get a sword, and it's kind of a fancy-looking thing.
Is it functional, though? It's functional.
Yeah, it's functional. We'll give it a 1d6. Or is that what swords usually are? Something like that. It's a good sharp sword.
Okay.
All right. And you get back on board the train, and before the banquet begins, something very odd happens. You feel for a moment as if something inside your chest is pulling you in a strange direction, and it seems to be the same for all of you.
Oh, don't tell me to wake up.
And everything around you seems to change. You're pretty sure that you're still asleep, but you're also pretty sure that you're not in the dreamlands anymore. You also find that you are completely alone, and you're standing in kind of an odd, oblong, long room. It's not very wide, and there are strange sort of sculpted glass balls on the floor leading forward, and some strange wooden almost like baffles up on the top, and maybe there's windows on the sides, and you realize too that you can't really see yourself, but you're moving forward, and there's a door, but the door at the far end of the room is going up to the ceiling and only about 3/4 of the way down. So you'd have to like step really high over. And it's about this time that you suddenly realize you're upside down. And when you realize this, you sort of turn like this and you flip over, and you're on the Orient Express. And it's nighttime and there's nobody on board, at least there's nobody ahead of you, you were somehow upside down. And as you move forward, you look over at an open window. And as swift as a bird, you suddenly move outside the window and up onto the top of the train. And you can see the countryside all laid out around you in the moonlight. And as you move suddenly forward along the train, you move quite a ways forward, and then suddenly you are hanging off the side of the train, and you're looking through one of the windows. And suddenly the window opens, and you move just like smoke. You're suddenly inside the room, and there's somebody sleeping in the bed. And as you lean over and you look at the person in the bed, it's you. And with a start, you suddenly wake up, and you're absolutely terrified. And you're in the dark, and you're wide awake.
Damn it.
And
Son of a bitch.
oh, and actually, well, I guess we got a few more minutes.
Sanity roll?
Yeah, let's do a sanity roll on that.
Nope. How much do I lose?
Well, it's only going to be a 1 or a 2, so,
D6. 1. I gain 1, I lose 1.
I gain 1, I lose 3.
No, you're only going to lose 1 or 2.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6.
Okay, I lost. Oh, then I lost 2. Great.
No closure for Dr. Dawkins.
No.
Not this episode.
Let's see, when you check, you know that you're still just a couple of hours outside of Venice.
Okay.
And you'll be there shortly. Let's see, I think I have my timetable here when you're supposed to arrive. Do you remember when you left? What time it was?
When we left Milan, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it.
I don't remember.
For what it's worth, too, while I'm thinking of it, I was reading over the story that Madame Carnival relayed, and that whole thing, that she and the sorcerer are from Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a town name, but I forget the name of it already. Could start with a C. I'll write it down.
Let's recap just a little. You were in Milan. You recovered
The torso.
the torso. And did you leave in the morning? Did you leave?
No, we left almost immediately because we were.
I have written down, we fall asleep that evening and then end up on the Dreamlands. It was Thursday night, January 25th.
Okay.
The only way that I'd be able to remember is if we went back and watched the footage.
Okay. My three times are 9 a.m., 5 p.m., or just about 1 a.m. So it must have been 1 a.m.
I think so.
All right. So that means that you will arrive in Venice at 8:26 a.m.
Wait, I also wrote down when we secured Katerina, we leave the next morning aboard the Orient Express. So I think we left in the morning, and then we traveled, and that night, Thursday night, is when we fell asleep and entered the Dreamlands. If that matters.
Okay. Well, I'm going to fudge it a little, and I think since you were asleep, I'm just going to say that you get there at 8:26 a.m.
8:26.
Okay.
Yep.
That's when you're going to arrive. And so we'll leave
Friday, right? That next day.
Right. So sorry for all of those continuity people out there who go, but wait a second. In this case, I don't think that it really matters much, but so we'll just say that that's when you're going to arrive. And yes, I know Venice and Milan are not that far apart, but we have to play games.
In this universe, they are.
So let's see. Where are we? Okay. Our players included Thomas McKeon, Jeff Wilkins, and Wayne Worthy, with myself as the keeper of the secrets. Our games are played using traditional tabletop methods with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. This is Tom Rayleigh inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.